Released by Konami in 2003 on the Game Boy Advance, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow would take place in between Castlevania Portrait of Ruin and Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Directed by Junichi Murakami and written by Koji Igarashi, the game features being able to absorb the souls of enemies and tactically equip them to gain abilities as well as New Game Plus and extra game modes. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a RECAPitation. As the game begins, it's 2035 in Japan and crowds gather for the first full solar eclipse of the 21st century. Soma Cruz, a high school foreign exchange student studying Japan, makes his way to Hakuba Shrine in order to watch the event with his childhood friend and shrine caretaker, Mina Hakuba. However, as he passes through the shrine gate, his senses begin to dull, and the next thing he knows, Soma wakes up in a strange location with Mina and a black-suited man named Genya Arikado. Getting straight to the point, Arikado demands to know why both of them have come to Dracula's castle, adding they are within the solar eclipse itself. He's about to explain more, but dark minions surround them, and reacting quickly, Arikado casts Soul Steal to clear them all out except for one foe off screen. Protecting Mina, Soma easily slays a skeleton in a single strike, but is surprised to see its soul gets absorbed into his body. Recognizing this, Arikado explains Soma has awakened to the power to absorb the abilities of monsters he kills, telling the confused student he must now go to the master's chamber of his castle. He adds not only will he understand everything, but he and Mina will be able to return home. In the meanwhile, he offers to put Mina behind a protective barrier as he does other things elsewhere, but warns Soma to hurry else the castle will claim her life in time. Charging down the corridors ahead, Soma cracks a creaking skull open to create a path forward, finding zombies of modern soldiers among the knights here lingering from some sort of massive battle. Soma is soon stopped as he runs into a white-suited man named Graham Jones who claims to be a sort of missionary, and choosing to chat asks him if this is indeed Dracula's castle, wondering why it's not in Europe per legend. Graham clarifies that it's true Dracula's castle has appeared in Europe, but the true castle actually exists elsewhere. He then asks Soma if he believes in vampires. The young man admits he really doesn't, and always thought Dracula was just a made-up story. Graham assures him they are real, though over the ages the church has done a good job of handling things in secrecy. In fact, Dracula has risen multiple times in history, during times of strife or lack of faith, though as Dracula experienced his true death in 1999 per Nostradamus' great prophecy. Dracula rose as predicted, but vampire hunters at the time ended his cycle of rebirth by sealing his castle inside the darkness of an eclipse. Soma wonders if they are in the same eclipse now, and Graham affirms this, adding there was another prediction that in 2035 a new master would come to the castle and inherit all of Dracula's powers. Giving the student something to think about, Graham takes his leave as Soma follows him into a crumbling chapel, killing a manticore before advancing to a study where he is now greeted by a woman in red who recognizes him. She introduces herself as Yoko Belnades, a member of the church, knowing of him through Arikado, though nearly letting slip his real name of Alucard. She was told to watch out for him in case he was in trouble as they both share dark powers. Concerned on what that means, Yoko explains Soma has the power to rule over and command monsters, but emphasizes that dark power is just a weapon and can be used for good or evil, and it's his choice. Soma thanks her for the reassurance as he's been sensing a loss of self recently, but Yoko now warns him to beware of Graham who seeks to inherit Dracula's powers. She leaves to go find Graham herself, and after Soma scuffles with a great armor, he is met by a muscular military man who is surprised to see a kid here. He introduces himself as Hammer, assigned here by the military, but was unintentionally brought here by the shrine like Soma. He admits he was thinking of quitting the army anyway and decides to set up shop here in the castle given all the weapons lying around. Accompanying him to the entrance, he finds Mina recovered from the shock of the attack earlier, and leaving her under the watch of Hammer, he proceeds to the dance hall where he now meets a seasoned hunter who senses a dark power within him. The man introduces himself as Jay and is unable to share more as he has amnesia and was told he was in an accident in 1999. What he does know is the name Dracula fills him with fear, and he came here because of a prophecy, but also notices his memory is starting to return to him. Soma wonders if Jay was involved with Dracula somehow because of a 1999 event, and Jay suspects the same, especially since he also has magical powers. Soma guesses him to be an exorcist, and Jay replies that's one way to put it, parting ways for now. Wandering into the cellar, the high schooler beats down a giant golem, and after that cuts down the collection of severed heads by a hot-swapping headhunter hungry for a new addition. Crossing through the garden and climbing the clock tower, Soma runs into Graham again and asks about Yoko's accusation that he is to inherit Dracula's power, and Graham clarifies that isn't the case because he was born the very day Dracula was destroyed, declaring himself Dracula incarnate. He also adds he's been nice to Soma so far because the young man isn't a threat to him, but recognizes he's made it this far into the castle and senses a growing power within him. Asking him what power he has awakened, Soma replies the power to rule, and in shock, Graham denies that possibility and cries out that he needs to hurry to the throne room. Soon after, Soma runs into Yoko and tells her he just ran into Graham, who is now in a hasty panic, and Yoko sees this as an opportunity to trap him while he's distracted, hurrying off herself. While exploring on the clock tower rooftop, the high schooler is suddenly halted by a ghostly scythe and sickles and fends them off until Death reveals himself and attempts to thwart any contenders to the throne. Resting a bit, Soma talks with Mina, asking more about Hakuba Shrine, and she recounts the story of Amano Iwado Shrine, where Tensho Daijin hides herself in the shrine to calm Susanoo down. As Tensho Daijin is the sun, hiding symbolizes an eclipse, and so eclipses are thought to confine anger and evil intentions. Hakuba Shrine normally conducts ceremonies for Japan's eclipses, but in 1999 they conducted a ritual in Europe to seal Dracula's castle. Descending into the dismal depths of the deadly dungeon, Soma dips into the dank catacombs to dredge up treasure from the derelicts below and puts down a dangerous legion. He is soon shocked to walk in on Graham running Yoko through with a sword and escape as the witch tells him her plan failed and Graham has gotten much stronger from absorbing the castle's power. Arikado now enters, telling Soma to stay focused on reaching the throne room, but doesn't explain why, only adding that Yoko and Mina's lives now both depend on him. Soma spits back that he feels like he's being manipulated, but regardless takes on the arena challenges such as hurling a wrecking ball, avoiding becoming a sandwich, navigating tricky conveyor belts, and matching a drive-by memory game. In a massive cell, a swarm converges into a giant bat, but this is bait before the behemoth Balor, who crushes it behind broken bars and tries to bash down Soma while blasting beams from his eyes. After the battle, Soma finds Jay staggered as all of his memories are now flooding back into him and believes it was Soma's growing dark power that triggered it. Taking it in, he reintroduces himself as Julius Belmont, true-blood descendant of a clan that has fought against Dracula for ages and one of the hunters who defeated him in 1999. Hearing this, Soma informs him Graham told him he was Dracula, but Julius isn't so sure he believes that, sensing some of Dracula's power in him, but nowhere near enough. Julius adds that even if Graham is Dracula, Julius himself doesn't have his vampire killer whip as he sealed it in this castle to weaken Dracula's spirit and magical powers. Fortunately, he knows where it is and goes out to get it, while hoping a hunch he has about something is wrong. Checking back with Mina and Yoko, Soma learns Mina has actually known Yoko since she was little and they are practically sisters, and Hammer finds himself very attracted to Yoko. Approaching the top floors of the castle, Soma ascends a barren stairway to enter a throne room splayed with blood, and Graham boasting he now possesses Dracula's power. Soma states he just wants to return home, and Graham says Soma first needs to return all the demons under his control to him. Soma actually wishes he could, but since he can't, Graham accuses him of theft with a penalty of death, throwing out a volley of fireballs towards the high schooler. Furious that Soma is equipped with souls that liken him to Dracula more than himself, Graham sacrifices his flesh to attain a more powerful demonic form. Striking down the overly ambitious cult leader, all of the absorbed power is released freely before flowing into Soma against his will. Brimming with awareness and power, Soma now understands he is actually Dracula and calls out Arikado hiding nearby. He is upset at being forcibly awakened, and Arikado admits Soma wasn't supposed to come to this castle in the first place, but it's clear, as per prophecy, Soma and Dracula's soul are one and the same, and he did awaken. However, because of this, Arikado was able to plan for this event and prepare a spot where he could do something about it, as Soma is actively trying to fight off the evil spirit that is slowly trying to consume him from within, not wishing to become Dracula. Arikado points out that even though Soma will gain all of Dracula's power, the evil comes from those who seek chaos and destruction, and they need to cut off the source of the chaos influencing the spirit. The castle itself is a spiritual realm, and a stream of chaos exists within it as well, in a place where only Dracula can enter, where he can stop it with his own strength. Arikado recognizes the strong will of Soma got him to the throne room and trusts him to hold on to himself long enough to kill chaos, adding that he will be using his powers to slow the flow of the evil spirit into Soma and buy him some time. Dashing with amazing alacrity, Soma heads to the heart of the castle but is halted by Julius, who is disheartened to see his hunch was true. Soma counters he is Dracula, but he's also still Soma, but the vampire hunter repeats his destiny is to destroy Dracula no matter what, brandishing his recovered legendary whip. Forced into a duel to the death, Soma reluctantly fights Julius to a draw, repeating he doesn't want to fight or kill Julius, and knowing the vampire hunter was also holding back. Julius admits this is true, sensing Soma's spirit alive and in control, and now chooses to believe in him. In agreement, Soma replies that he needs to face his next battle alone, and should he fail and the evil spirit win, then Julius must kill him, and the old hunter agrees but wishes him well. With no regrets, Soma enters the chaotic realm, scrambling through the Shadow Castle to find the core of chaos, where he suddenly receives a message from Mina and the others combining their power to offer encouragement and moral support in Soma coming back safely. Combating the culmination of cores he has collected so far, Soma clashes with the crawling chaos, cracking it open to conquer Castlevania and scattering the crumbling castle to the eclipse. Drifting in the void, he hears the cheers of his friends celebrating his victory, as Yoko thanks him for saving her and hopes they meet again. Hammer is going to pursue his calling of becoming a merchant. Julius shares they all fled the castle safely and the vampire killer's powers faded away, and Arikado thanks him on behalf of himself and his mother, though acknowledges there are still others who desire Dracula's power. As the game ends, Soma wakes up in the lap of Mina, safely back in the shrine, and turns to thank her and everyone else for their faith in him, believing his friends were his power in the battle for his soul. To the side, he jokes he's now a much cooler high school kid, and Mina replies that lame jokes aside, even though Dracula's power is sleeping inside of him, he does have more friends now to help him. As the eclipse is over, Mina stands by Soma's side and takes his hand as they watch the sun emerge on a new day together. Castlevania Aria of Sorrow has enjoyed the success of selling over 290,000 copies worldwide. What did you think of a Castlevania where you play as Dracula? If you enjoyed the recap, then leave a like, and big thanks to the patron and channel member hunters. Check out the links in the description for ways to support the channel or places like my Discord server. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next battlefield.